What's up, softball players? I'm Coach Dan Blewett. In today's video, let's talk about how to get out of a slump. Okay, so if you're new here, I'm Coach Dan. I do tons of videos on strength training, on softball throwing mechanics, fielding drills, mindset, all of it. So in today's video, let's talk about how to get out of a slump, because everyone watching this, if you're a player, is going to go through these every single season. Here's my first point. Number one, it's critical to remember that, say you're a 300 hitter or even a 400 hitter, you don't just go 34 100 every other month or every month. You don't go 3 for every 10, right? You don't go 6 for every 20. You go like this. You go like it's up in waves. You'll go 2 for 22, in one 5-game set, and then you'll go 11 for 19 in the next 5 games, right? It's always a constant up and down, where if you to track out that line of best fit, for all of you pay attention in math class, it's just going to be that solid average over the course of a lot of hills and valleys. And so dealing with these little slumps and understanding, number one, when are you actually in a slump? This is, I think, one of the things that's hard for young players to understand. If your swing is good and you're putting a good swing on the ball and you're up at the plate and you're just not getting the results that you want, you have to ask yourself, is something actually wrong? Or am I just grounding out too much and getting a little bit unlucky? Am I hitting line drives right at people? Am I facing a really tough string of pitchers recently that I just maybe I'm a little overmatched at the moment? All these factors, if you're hitting the ball at people, you're getting a little bit unlucky, you're facing a lot of good pitchers in a short period of time, that's maybe a little bit above the norm for you, those aren't reasons to change anything. Those are all reasons just to keep doing what you're capable of doing, take the same swings, have the same approach, and really not adjust anything and ride it out. So as a ship captain, you might you might be in calm seas and for a long time, and then you might get into a really bad storm. It's not to say you need to cancel the trip and take a left turn or completely go off course. Sometimes you just need to go through it, and it's going to be smooth sailing the next day or even just a couple hours later. That's a lot of the time. So really think about, am I actually slumping or am I just getting bad results? I think there's a difference, even though we sort of use the blanket term slump for everything. All right, number two, stay positive. And this doesn't have to be that rah-rah, BS where you're just oh, I'm not having a slump. It doesn't have to be that hokey, dumb, unrealistic stuff. Staying positive just means, hey, I just need to put a good swing on the ball. I've got the skills. I belong at this level. I can do this. Let's just stay the course and stay focused and see ball, hit ball. That's what staying positive means to players at the highest level. It's not overinflating your ego. It's not being silly about it. It's not needing someone to pat you on the back for everything you do, or your teammates to clap for every ground ball that you hit that one hard, great job. No, being positive is just look, I belong here. This is gonna pass. I'm just in a tough time, but I've got the skills and I can get out of this. I just need to keep my nose to the ball and keep playing hard. That's what being positive is. That's how you really start to ride out some of these slumps. Next slump tip, stay in your routine. This is one of the biggest problems with young players, is as soon as they're not hitting their best, they start changing everything up. They're taking twice as many swings in the cage, they're showing up at the field way earlier, or they're just doing all this other stuff because they're mentally just nervous. Why am I not hitting? Why am I not hitting? I got to do all this other stuff. If you have a good routine and you figured out what makes you good, I arrived at the ballpark at this time every day. These are the things that I do to get ready. This is the stuff I do to get ready in the week. This is sort of my practice schedule. This is how much sleep I need. This is what I eat on game day. These are all the things that get me mentally prepared to play. That's your routine, whether it's before the game, daily, weekly, monthly, etc. Stick with your routine. If it got you there, keep going with it. There's an old saying, it says, dance with who brung you. Once you get there, don't forget what got you there. So if you have been having success in years and months and weeks prior to today, that stuff is still going to work. You're just in a little bit of a bad patch. So don't abandon your routine. Stick to your routine. Stay with the stuff that you've been doing that's been helping you get to that point. The next point, and this is a really big one, don't accept too much advice from other people. As soon as you start to struggle, everyone wants to help you get out of it. They say, hey, maybe you should do this. Maybe you should make this change with your swing. Maybe you should do that. Is there even a problem yet? This is a really hard thing to do. A lot of times people will want to say, oh, you should do this. Let's do that. Maybe try this. Maybe try that. Or maybe, going back to my previous point, you're just in a bad slump, or you're just in a little period of bad luck, and you don't need to change anything, or the changes you need to make are very, very small. Don't let all these other cooks into your kitchen. Ask yourself, is something really wrong? Do I really need to change right now? Or did I just go 0 for 9 and I'm going to go 0 for 9 a couple of times every season? Ask yourself that question and then tune other people out. Yes, there's a time to accept that advice and there's a time to change, but most of the time with these little short slumps, these little tiny waves, it's not. And a lot of people can just make it worse by getting in your head and saying, oh, change your, move your elbow up, change your swing, change your stride, change your leg kick. Don't abandon, again, dance with who brung you. Don't abandon everything all at once and let everyone else in to your head, which is only going to make things worse when you get into a little slump. Ask yourself, do I need to change? And if not, stick to your guns. And this is my next point, make incremental change. So if you're like, yeah, I feel a little uncomfortable at the plate, I'm just not doing as well as I could, my swing feels a little off, look for the smallest possible change you can make. The smallest possible change you can make. Not a big change, because a big change is going to throw you in the other direction. Now you might be equally uncomfortable in a different direction because, your stride was a little off, so now you went to a completely different stride, and now you feel uncomfortable with that one too because it's so different than what you used to do. Make the smallest incremental change you can to your mechanics and to your routine if you need to make an adjustment to your routine. So if you're only hitting, taking 50 swings in pregame, don't go taking 150, maybe take like 15 more, a little bit more, whatever it is. Do a couple other drills, a couple of this, couple of that, but little changes, not big changes, will help you get back on track. Lastly, take your placebos. So I'm sure all of you know that, a sugar pill, a placebo, like my mom, tells a story about my grandmother, that when my mom had a headache as a little girl or a stomach ache or whatever, her mom would mix up this little concoction that she later learned was just like a teaspoon of sugar and some seltzer water, just no medicine whatsoever. She gave it to my mom and it always made her feel better, right? Because she believed that it was medicine, and she, as a child, knew that like medicine always makes you feel better. So when she got this little concoction of sugar and seltzer water, her headache always seemed to magically go away. As athletes, we have these things, right? We have the fancy bat, the fancy batting gloves, our little routines, our little cheers, our little stuff that just like gets us going. You look good, you play good, right? All that stuff. So yeah, a lot of that stuff is silly. And it certainly doesn't make the ball player, not by any stretch, how nice your bat is, your batting gloves, your uniform, etc. But if it's going to give you a little confidence boost and you're going to, feel good going up to the plate, that can make all the difference sometimes. So even though you don't want to make those things a crutch, when you're struggling, take any little placebo that you can to make yourself feel like, today's going to be a good day. So if that's a new pair of batting gloves, or it's shining your shoes, clean off your cleats with some scrubbing bubbles, or it's whatever it is, just take your placebos and distract yourself. Feel a little more excited to be at the ballpark because you did X or you did Y, or you got a new thing or whatever, and now you're ready to play. Okay, so even though the placebos don't really do much, they do have a little good mental effect of boosting your confidence and, again, putting that pep back in your step, because it can be rough. And that's the last thing I want to cover, is that most slumps are made vastly worse because of confidence issues. So if you let yourself go, I suck, why am I even playing this game? Your 0 for 9 is going to become 0 for 18, and that 0 for 18 is going to become 1 for 34. And then it's going to become a really, you're going to be stuck on the bench, and it's going to become a really big hole to dig yourself out of. So don't get in that trap. Use all these tips that I gave you here today to help you keep your confidence up, stay to your routine, just ride it out, stay positive, and don't let that big plane go into the ground of your confidence. All right. So what do you do to get out of a slump? Leave a comment below. If you have any questions, hit me up. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you here in the next video.